Okay, let's get started. So today I'd like to talk to you about the Red Bull Stratus social media marketing campaign. Really what this is a look into the start of Red Bull's marketing campaigns where they feature extreme sports videos. And this is really kind of the video that took off for them. They didn't expect it to go viral. They knew kind of what they wanted to do and just went for it. And sure enough, it did go viral. So what was the goal of the campaign? Well, the first goal was really to create brand awareness. They weren't necessarily trying to sell the Red Bull product, the actual energy drink, but really what they wanted to establish was a relationship with their target market. Who's typically like an extremist, somebody that's kind of just into extreme, obscure sports, not your typical football, basketball type sports, but, your motocross, your freestyle, BMX, all those kinds of things, and completely random events as well, skydiving and whatnot. So basically, they wanted to create a relationship with their target audience to where they weren't trying to sell them something. They wanted to feel like they were, part of the event. So that's kind of where the next one comes into, is associating with the extreme sports. Like I said, they're trying to build that relationship with the target audience, and really where they wanted to go with that. And of course, with that, they kind of created their own unique marketing platform, which is really what they were going for. Basically, a new way of not having to compete for advertising space. So by basically creating their own events and by funding these events, such as the Space Jump, that's basically how they became the sole sponsorship for it. So basically what happened was Felix Baumgartner was an avid base jumper. He's been sponsored by Red Bull for quite some time now, and about 5 years before the jump, which happened in October of 2012, the team of scientists and Baumgartner got together and figured out how this was going to be possible. And basically what they did was kind of document this whole process, and Red Bull sponsored the whole thing. They did not have anybody else to compete with for that sponsorship space, and you'll see Red Bull logos all over. But it's really something unique. Vice having to advertise, pay for advertising, and compete with other advertisers throughout a different sports events, such as the Super Bowl. Okay, so like I mentioned, kind of laying the groundwork. Red Bull wanted to push the limits of humans. That's really what they stand for. Like I said, just how extreme can you go? How far can you push yourself? Something that's really going to grab the attention of the other audience too, as well. Several people do not do these extreme sports, but when they're cruising through social media, they find this event, or they capture it in these videos. And of course, Red Bull's there as the producer for that. Like I said, so Red Bull completely funded this project. The team of scientists, they worked about 5 to 7 years preparing for this, and to see if it was even physically possible for this. And a lot of the stuff they did too was great. They kind of talked about it. People would ask questions, and they really encouraged the use of the social media as that question and answer or documenting channel. They preferred social media over any type of personal communication, such as email, text, anything like that. Basically, get the word out, get everybody on the same page, let people know what was going on, what was happening, and really create the hype for this jump. And they did this several ways. Like I said, you have different social media platforms they use, and we'll kind of get into that and talk about those a little bit as well. But definitely used hashtags for this. The main one they used was the live jump hashtag. They also used the generic Red Bull Stratus and Red Bull Stratus. But the live jump was really the main hashtag for this. And really, it's kind of unique because live jump doesn't necessarily, cue you into the Red Bull brand. So, look at the Facebook. The Red Bull Stratus Facebook page is unique, separate from the Red Bull Facebook page, but the Stratus page has about 850,000 likes and followers. So for a single page just for this market campaign, it really is quite a few. And they really try to build the hype through documenting the story in real time. Kind of like I mentioned, they really encouraged the um, participants, all that communication through the page. So it's kind of showing the progress of this project in real time, and really, like I said, draws in a crowd. It's kind of almost like watching a series. Just kind of keeping up with it. Um, and as time went on, they increased post as it got closer and closer to countdown. I really hyped it up, started taking more and more pictures, releasing some articles. They had some interviews here and there, and they would feature all this on the Facebook page where people would just go log on and check out, see what was going on. And really, after the jump, they still continued to tell the story. Of course, Felix was featured on several talk shows. They even created a documentary for the Red Bull Stratus page itself, and really just a great campaign. So with the Instagram page, it's pretty similar to their Facebook page. Just a lot more pictures, less typing, less articles, but really just a lot of unique perspectives into the campaign, into this jump that's going to happen. Seeing the capsule he was going to jump out of, just really builds momentum, kind of seeing what he had to go through. And really, it only had about 19,000 followers, but the key is that Red Bull, the actual Red Bull Instagram, also would feature pictures from the Stratus project. So Twitter was another great way of telling the story. Now they were limited to what they could tell in the actual posts themselves due to the character limits of Twitter, but the @RedBullStratus Twitter account was just, it was going haywire with just several posts, several likes, and sorry, not likes, followers for that page. Again, it also helped carry post jump momentum, keeping up to date with the talk show appearances. And I feel like that's kind of really where the Twitter account came in to effect. Is just people getting on, raving about it, and really kind of carried the momentum from the jump forward. It almost kind of transitioned from Facebook to Twitter after the jump. So, and of course, YouTube. The video of the jump was featured on YouTube. There's several copies of it out there, but the unique thing is the Red Bull videos had about 8 million concurrent views on YouTube. Plus, as I mentioned, there are several other copies that have been recorded and uploaded. But really, the several videos have been other videos, I should say, have been documented as well besides Felix's, and those have 4 and 5 million views. So it's really, really popular on YouTube. That's really where the events can take place, and you get that captured. And really, what they've done from this marketing campaign moving forward is, YouTube has kind of become the database where all these extreme videos for Red Bull go. And you see several motocross, extreme motorcycle stunts, anything like that. Off-road racing. It's kind of become almost a hub for this. And as I mentioned, like, none of these videos hardly feature a Red Bull can. This is all about just the brand. So as I mentioned, they had the launch. It was all very successful. He landed. It was featured on several different media channels throughout, not just including YouTube, but throughout several countries. So it was really a worldwide event. So what worked for them? Well, the focus really was to establish brand awareness. They weren't trying to sell their Red Bull energy drink product necessarily. That's always the underlying motive, is to increase your sales. But, as I mentioned in their goals, they really wanted just to create this brand awareness and this association for the extreme. So another thing that really worked is the fact that they created this event. They they didn't have to compete with other advertisers for campaign space. It was all 100% Red Bull funded, and so they kind of had freedom to do what they wished. And so what kind of really made it successful, though, is how they documented the progress and really got the momentum going up for this. because like I said, it's not necessarily on primetime television. This is all social media. So it was kind of unique in how it could actually build up for the jump. And so, kind of after that too is like it kept up with the post jump hype. It did not just stop once the jump happened. They kind of it happened. That was their main event, but really that's kind of the middle. You had all the events that came afterwards, all the media attention you got, and just of course the Red Bull logo everywhere. So their brand really, really benefited from this. And as well as, like I mentioned, they used the diverse platforms to reach their target audience. You had several Instagram followers, Twitter. There's just a broad target audience there, and I think they kind of expanded beyond just what they were targeting with extreme sports people. They kind of captured the attention of a lot of other people's as well. And what has worked was the short videos, and this is kind of taken off, like I mentioned before. The short clips where people can just be cruising through social media, see a short video, and watch it has really, really been working well for them. So, what's some areas for improvement? Honestly, this campaign was extremely successful. It's really laid the groundwork for Red Bull and how it's got this unique marketing platform. But there could be some other areas for improvement. I think there's a few too many hashtags. Like I mentioned 4 of them, and there are several others. But if it could have been kind of kept to 1 or 2, to where people really knew what it was talking about. As I mentioned before, like not all their hashtags were indicative of Red Bull. The live jump wasn't necessarily Red Bull, but at the same time they're also trying to build brand awareness. So you'd want that Red Bull, but they didn't want to seem like they were trying to sell something. So it's kind of a boundary there. And like I said, the Red Bull energy drink seemed kind of non-existent in the campaign, but the brand itself was everywhere. So from there, they don't have to just sell the energy drink. Now I've seen several people dressed up in Red Bull spacesuits and all other kinds of product that they are selling now. And another area for improvement we don't know really is whether Red Bull was ready for the potential negative consequences. I mean, somebody jumped over 23 miles from up in the air, almost into outer space, down to Earth. The potential negative effects could have been catastrophic for the brand if something had gone wrong and Felix had not made it. Now, there's just a huge risk there they're taking with all these people watching. So whether or not they were going to be ready for the negative consequences, we don't know. But it's just something that we would hope that they would prepare for, possibly. Okay, so was it successful? As I mentioned, we kind of talk about what worked. So did it actually work for the sales? Well, the answer is yes. Sales were up 7% in the 6 months following the Stratus jump. The worldwide sales increased 13% within the year. And in the United States, it actually went up 17%. Now, some of the stuff is hard to find. Red Bull keeps a lot of their marketing and their sales and research, all that kind of kept in closed doors. So a lot of the information, whether successful, was kind of hard to find. But from what we were able to gather, the sales themselves were successful. But let's talk about what we do know that was successful. They created this whole new marketing platform. They've got just jam-packed full of videos now. They have all kinds of different circuits, different sports themselves that that Red Bull almost kind of owns the circuit. So they definitely create a new marketing platform and were successful in that. And really, it's kind of the brand for extreme sports. It's what most people think of. They have the slogan, Red Bull gives you wings, which is another campaign, but it really kind of follows that whole mentality that Red Bull is going to push humans to the edge.